Thank you for watching. I'm Jumai Hakwani. You're watching LNG. Today I have Catherine Begay in my studio today. We're going to talk about her candidacy and why you got into the race and all the good stuff there. So how are you feeling so far, as far as the campaign goes? You started, when did you announce? What was it?
I announced back in March, right before the primary. I got my signatures together and got right into it. I'm feeling really good about my campaign.
Was it a last minute thing? Was it some, I've done this last minute thing. Was it a last minute thing that I just want to get into this race? Or
No,
something you thought
I
about,
wouldn't
or?
say it was a last minute thing, but it was a considered decision after I didn't get the appointment to the judicial bench. And so I thought I'm going to change the law in a different way, and I'm going to go up there and change it through the legislature.
So that was the first process that you went through. So you went through your petition process, got all the petitions. You needed a lot of petitions? Was it? What?
No, I think it was 49 signatures, but I can't remember right off the top of my head.
It's a big district, though. It's a pretty huge district.
It is. It's a really big district. It includes essentially 3 municipalities, Corrales, Rio Rancho, and then parts of Albuquerque, actually the west side of Albuquerque across the river. So they're really unique. Each parts of those are very different from one another.
They're very different, because I've been in some parts of your district there. The constituents are very different, what they want and stuff as far as the legislature goes and stuff. So what do you hear? What do you hear when you say you go from Corrales to Rancho? What do you hear? What is the differences?
Well, those two are really big. We have Corrales, who has a very different way of life, keeping things the way they are, keeping the bosque safe, keeping their sort of rural lifestyle. Overlooked on the mesa by the city of Vision. You have Rio Rancho with very different interests, and then right at the bottom of that mesa going south is Albuquerque, with a lot of new families coming in, young families actually coming in, and so it's very different, and I hear about that when I'm walking my district and when I'm also talking and meet and greets within the district.
So the general perception is that they're concerned about the economy, things like that. And I think that's why you got into the race, right? I know you said the judicial thing didn't go through, but aside from that, you are, when you look at your website, you're talking about jobs and things like that. You would like to work on the minimum wage and things like that, right?
Those things are really important, but they're not the exact reason why I got into the race. They're not the primary reason why I got into the race. The reason why I got into the race was because of what's happening with CYFD. I'm an attorney here in Albuquerque. I work with CYFD. I represent respondents. I'm also a guardian ad litem and a youth attorney, so I represent kids who are over the age of 14. And so I have a firsthand, up-close look at what's happening with CYFD. The people who are there are severely overworked, underpaid, and they do not have enough
underfunded
resources.
Organization.
Underfunded organization. Correct, yeah. They have a great job that they're supposed to do on behalf of our state, but they don't have the money to do it. They have good people who are working there, but they don't have the resources to do their job appropriately. But everything else ties into that. People who are poor are more likely not to be able to put food on their table, less likely to be able to have long-term jobs, jobs that pay more than minimum wage. And so some of those problems lead our family to being right there where CYFD is. It's the interconnectedness of all of that that's a real problem.
Are they seeing an influx of children coming in CYFD? It's gone up since the economy tanked a little?
Yes.
So
and in
that's
fact,
where I think they're overstretched, right?
Yes, they are. Part of the problem is that a lot of people lack the resources to even have a home, lack the resources to put food on the table, lack the resources to be able to be one of those parents who goes out and says, I'd really like to get my child involved in Girl Scouts or get my child involved in something at the school. When you have parents who can't or don't have the time to do that, who can't do that because they don't have the funds to do that, there's a real disconnectedness from saying, we invest in children, but then not having the parents able to do that. So every politician gets up and says, the children are our future, they're really important, and they absolutely are, but we need to start acting like it here in New Mexico.
So where do you think the deficiency as far as dealing with CYFD? Where's the breakdown? Is it in the legislation? Do you think, is it in the functioning core itself as far as CYFD? Is it bad management?
I can't exactly pinpoint what the problem is because I'm not familiar with the actual structure of CYFD and how it's set up.
What would you like to see change there?
I think we need to start from from the most immediate way that we can solve this problem, which is get this agency money so they can hire social workers, so they can hire attorneys to man the field out there, to be the ones in court to do these things, hire the investigators who can help identify the child abuse issues. Let's get some help for those families on the agency side, but let's also fully fund things like the mental health system, you know, people being able to get homes to house their children, even agencies that can help provide food for families, and certainly counseling services. So it's a breakdown of the entire system that's not putting New Mexico's families first. One of the best ways that we can change that is by raising the minimum wage. That's an easy fix that we can have everybody benefit from.
And this is our economic situation right now. We've lost a lot of jobs. Last few years, the economy tanked. As far as, like I was telling you during the, before we got onto the show, that, you know, the state's not doing very good.
It's not.
The funds are going, you know, places where maybe, you know, they shouldn't be going there. A lot of the revenue that comes into education comes in from oil and gas and things like that. 35% of it specific comes, about approximately, give or take, comes in from oil and gas. Do you think we need to increase revenue? Is it all just about revenue, you think? Or do you think it is going to take a lot of training and stuff? Because you know, we were talking to Christine Trujillo, she was here from District 25, was talking about education. Children are suffering because of the lack of funding as far as education, early childhood, things like that. That's where a lot of these abuses start, and no one really knows about it. And our state is notorious for that. The culture is, well, since we're low, we're just going to be low. And nothing is going to happen.
That's absolutely unacceptable.
It's a mindset.
Yes.
And I think that as long as that mindset's there, we'll never make any progress. And we're always going to be in a very low scale there. I think 50th in child welfare, and it's shameful.
It is shameful.
It's shameful to see other, when people from other states look at us, they think it's pretty bad and stuff. Let me take a short break, we'll come back, and then we'll talk a little bit more about some of the other core issues, okay?
Sure.
We'll take a short break, we'll be right back.